Hello again, Michael Friedberg here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I have two products for review. The first of which was sent me by a very kind person off of Reddit. He said he was going to send just a few samples of some local artisan soaps, but of course the box included all kinds of things, including a full puck of this Uula soap, which comes from Razor Masters. It's a Finnish artisan soap. The label has some Spanish and Portuguese on it. I think this has been repackaged or relabeled for another vendor. I'll talk about the soap in just a moment. The other product for today is a brush that was kindly sent to me for review from West Coast Shaving. It's really only my second synthetic brush. This is a 26 millimeter, maybe bigger, synthetic brush. This is a very densely packed brush, by the way. The behavior and sort of the face feel of this brush is quite different than the other one I have, so we'll cover that as well. Today's razor is going to be the Rockwell 6S. I have this set, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, on the R4 for the first two passes, and then I'll turn it over and use number 2. Keeping with the Scandinavian theme, at least from the soap side, I'm using a Rockwell razor's blade as well, which Swedish steel. Well, all right. I have cut a significant piece of that soap off and pressed it into the Captain's Choice soap loading bowl. I think I was just being too chintzy with some of these previous samples and just trying to use as little as possible. But the fact is that having more surface area really does help here. So I'm going to wet this brush. We'll start lathering and we'll talk about the soap in just a moment. It is the second shave on that on the blade, by the way, in the Rockwell. All right, let's go and get this lathered. I have found, by the way, at least in my experience, the course of the week, is that starting with the dry brush and adding water works much better. If you start off with a wet or maybe even overly damp, you create a very foamy lather at first, which of course settles down quickly, but I found starting off with a dry brush and getting a bit of a pasty load first seems to work better. The soap ingredients, by the way, are incredibly simple. It's potassium. Let me just make sure I've got that right. It is potassium stearate, potassium cocoate, potassium lanolate, water, glycerin, and the scent. That's it. Very, very simple. This synthetic brush, by the way, feels definitely different than the other one I have. The other one I have is a little bit sort of floppy, a little weak side to side. This is really different. The tips are really quite soft, but there's a lot of backbone and a lot of structure to this brush. It works well with hard soaps. You can see having no issue sort of tearing into this. There we go. That's a lot of soap loaded. Just get my face wet again. Dribble some onto the brush. The density in the backbone of this brush means that in fact it does have a little bit of sort of scrub or scritch. Which after a couple days of not shaving, when you really want to work that soap in, actually feels pretty good. If you just lighten up on the pressure and you're just smoothing out the soap, very, very soft. All right, just adding some more water to the brush. Yeah, I went for the synthetic brush to review from West Coast Shaving simply because I only have the one. I have a number of other Badger and Boar brushes, and I thought I'd like to try one of their synthetic brush offerings. Obviously, synthetic brushes are making a huge inroad, certainly for new wet shavers, and I think for a lot of experienced wet shavers as well. They have a lot of advantages. You know, there's definitely a cost factor there. They're starting to come out in some very cool kind of color combinations or designs, which I think will be the next big thing. Will be differentiation in the knots, particularly just in how they look, because you know the materials themselves may well be pretty much the same. I've really enjoyed using the soap. The scent, by the way, is coffee with sort of a chocolatey, dark chocolatey undertone. It is incredibly strongly scented. If you like a very strong cup of coffee, dark, dense coffee, if you like, so when you are changing out coffee from like a drip or a press pot and you like that used coffee ground kind of smell, this soap would be absolutely perfect for you. Very easy to lather, good slick performance. All right, I think that looks like plenty. Yeah. Wet and a little bit loose. There we go. Yeah, when I received this box, of course it has a variety of other things in it, but when I first opened the box, the immediate first impression was, wow, something really smells like coffee in there. And as soon as I smelled that soap, I was like, well, that's the first one from that box I'm going to try because the scent is fantastic. Rockwell 6S. This was, as I said, is on the 4. These blades, I don't think are a great match for me. But they definitely work. Just not quite as comfortable as some of the other blades I've used in this razor, but again, there's so much personal preference there. I've had some really shockingly good shaves this week. This razor on 4 and then flipping to 2 is an excellent combo for me. I find the razor easy to hold, easy to use. It feels very safe on the face. Even on 6, it's definitely not a very aggressive razor. I know that for some people that's one area that seems to be a bit of a disappointment, that it isn't dramatically aggressive on 6. That doesn't bother me. But this combo this week has been really, really good. Now, I don't know how many times this happens to you, but Wednesday had a lot on my mind trying to get prepared for work. There's an awful lot to get done. And as is often the case, your mind begins to wander. You're starting to think about the day ahead. And I realized that that's probably not a great thing to have happen while you're shaving. But I just sort of shaved on autopilot. I even forgot to adjust the razor for the against the grain pass. And when I was done, I had what is really as close to BBS as I ever really get. Sometimes that lack of attention also means a lack of, misdirected focus when you're shaving. Just sort of let it happen. Quick, easy pass for that first with the grain pass. The soap, when you rinse, by the way, is very slick. So that if you're looking for that post-rinse slickness, I think the soap would be a great option for you as well. I've not seen this in use, and certainly not in a lot of sort of shave of the day, or there aren't a lot of video reviews of this. I'm not sure that it's readily available outside of Europe, for example. But even there, I don't see this mentioned on a pretty regular basis. But I have to say, the soap is, in terms of ingredients, very simple and straightforward. Performance has been excellent, and the scent strength is fantastic. No issues lathering. Now, I think I did help myself, of course, by putting in a good sized chunk into the soap loading bowl. I think I'll be doing that more in future. Is worrying a little bit less about trying to hold on to enough of the soap that you can pass on large pieces for the sample, and just make sure you have enough for the full week shave. Okay, this is the across the grain pass, and then for the against, I will switch from 4 to 2. Nice, slick, simple soap. This really just gets the job done. I think that for many of you, this is the weekend for large parts of Europe where you are also now enjoying the transition for daylight savings time. Sorry. Those few weeks when we are ahead of the European nations – causes havoc with people's calendars when you're working across time zones. Very good audible feedback while you're shaving, and also a sound that's kind of unique to the razor, definitely, or I should say distinct for the razor. Yeah, I really, really like this. I mean, I just like this razor. It just has worked very, very well for me. Wasn't quite sure what to expect when I first got it. You know, how much differentiation there would be when you switch out the base plates. But it has been a real joy to use. And I can definitely say, if you're on the fence, if you're nervous about this being overly aggressive at 5 or 6, that's not going to be the case. If you're looking for a razor in which you can kind of combine a good mix of very mild to mid-aggression, but comfortable from end to end, the Rockwell's a great option there. Okay, this is going to be the third and final pass. The slickness here is just, yeah, extremely well done. Very impressive. Goes to show that you don't need a soap full of all kinds of ingredients to make something that really works great for your shave. I don't think I'll need to go back to the puck for this pass, but we'll see. No, there's still a bit in this brush. Yeah, I've been liking the synthetic brush. Definitely not as soft on the face as the other one. It has a little bit of scritch, it has a lot of backbone, but if you are working with hard soaps, or you tend to shave every couple days, or you have heavy beard growth, I think this not be a very good option. I went for the tortoise over the, I think the other brush handles are white. That just has a very nice, just kind of a cool look to it. All right, I'm going to now swap. Just going to disassemble the razor. Just going to flip over the base plate and switch from 4 to 2 for the final pass. There we go. Yeah, I think I called this adaptable instead of adjustable last time, but nah, kind of a distinction without much of a difference. All right, this is the Against the Growth. Deliberately gone for a more mild setting. Yeah, if you like the buff, and I do for that third pass, having the option to set it for a milder setting is a real boon. Really reduces the risk of razor burn. We are already experiencing some symptoms of real spring here in North Carolina. We already have pine pollen. It's not the full green clouds yet, but it's going to get there soon. For those of you that are sensitive to the pollen, this is a potentially horrible time of year. Razor is heavy, by the way, so if you're looking to get this, then one thing you should note is that you just need to watch the pressure. Don't bear down. Weight of the razor will certainly help you get with your, get the shave going. Have to remind myself of that sometimes when I'm buffing, is that because of this sort of the audible feedback, you have a tendency to want to push down a little bit, resist the urge. Yeah, excellent slickness. Even if it's starting to thin out a little bit, there just wasn't that much for that third pass. No issues. Yeah, buffing on 2 is just so easy. And yes, it is more mild, so it may take a little extra work to get the final result that you want, but I think in the end you may have a better option there to avoid some razor burn. Man, that was a quick 3-pass shave. Very, very slick on rinsing. Just, oh, very good. Now, what I will say though is that as slick as the soap is, and it is very simple, and it does contain lanolin, post-shave feel has been a little drying for me, for my skin. What I find is that sort of side to side, skin's a little bit tight, and of course with this level of slickness, it also is a little bit hard to rinse. That is the con of the Pro. All right. Let's go ahead and towel off. Well, beautiful shave. No heat, no irritation. That was easy and quick. That soap works very, very well. The combination of all 3 of those pieces, the brush, sort of digging into that soap, very easy to load. Just the razor, soap's wonderful. All right, I'm going to close this out with a bit of green freshness. I'm making my way through this bottle. I mean, halfway through. And there's going to be some more coming, but not in the next short while. Still got quite a bit of this and the blue as well. This is the Myrsol Formula C. A little bit grassy, a little bit minty. Cooling and refreshing. Very slight tingle from the mint. And then it just sort of warms up a little bit and cools off. Mint is just wonderful to close this off. Whew, well. All right then. What can you say? That was a good shave. That's all there is to it. That was just a really good shave. All right, let's go back. Let's just quickly cover, now that we're done, let's just go back and review what we've used for today and recap a little bit. Uula. This is from the Razor Masters. This is apparently named after a Finnish sweat shaving person, I believe. Very simple list of ingredients. Fantastic, deep, strong coffee smell. If you like a really strongly scented soap and you love the smell of coffee, dark espresso, this is a fantastic choice. I hope you have a chance to find this and give this a whirl. As you can see, there's just comes in a very simple packaging. It's just paper wrapped, but the packaging in this case really doesn't affect the quality at all. Very, very nice stuff. For today, the West Coast Shaving, this is their synthetic brush, 26 millimeter, I believe. The tortoise, the faux tortoise handle. Lots of backbone to this, a little bit of scrub, a little bit of scritch, very soft tips, but because of the density in the backbone, if you really press down, you're going to get a little bit of scritch there, which again, as I said, if you have a bit of a thick beard growth or you don't shave every day or you really need to dig into a hard soap, makes that a very, very good choice. And like all synthetic brushes, of course, it's very easy to clean. It rinses easily. It dries almost immediately. Great option. For today, let me just rinse off the head a little bit. Razor for today, Rockwell 6S on using the base plate 4/2. Started off for the first 2 passes with the 4, switched down to the 2 for the last Grenzer grain pass. I like to do a lot of buffing in that pass, and that soap is very, very slick. So that's just an excellent combination. Nice, light, mild touch in the last pass. Very slick soap makes buffing just easy, no issues at all. End result is a very clean, wonderful, wonderful shave. Easy, nothing to it. Now, this is where you can start to feel though that soap is a little bit drying. Skin is a little bit tight, tighter than maybe it should be. And that might just be, well, might just be based on the soap, obviously. I think that's it. I think we're done. Yeah, we are done. That's it for today. I just want to say thank you again so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one and certainly appreciate the time you're taking to watch these videos. As always, if you would like to leave a comment or ask questions, please feel free to post against this video or any of the others. And until next time, goodbye.